going to see now, I'm going to do the super slicer, and you're going to see how much faster it is when you've cropped the image. How about that? So that's it. We sliced the whole thing, and we can check the 3D view again, and we see that there's two objects in the 3D view, and the reason for that is because I didn't delete the original contours from the unsmoothed image. So I wanted to do that because just to show you that, sometimes there are surprises and we can correct them. All right, so what do we want to do? Well, let's delete all the contours and re-slice. So edit, unselect all contours. Now we'll re-super slice. And we go back to, now if we check the 3D view, aha, now we have one object. So that's what the 3D view is useful for, is just to see if you've made some kind of a mistake somewhere, an obvious mistake. All right, so that looks great. So now we're ready to output this as a surface, and I'll use the surface generator, and the default settings are probably perfectly fine. Maybe I'll take some of this blurring. There's a very small amount of blurring done here. I'm going to reduce it to 0.2 so that it's non-existent, essentially. And that's because we already have enough smoothing using the medium filter. So, okay, so we're going to now generate the surface using the Go button. Ready? And it takes a minute. And there we are. I'm going to call this test median obj. This is the object because we applied the median filter. And I'm going to save it. Okay, now it's saved, and we're ready to go ahead and take a look at it. Let's save the project in case something happens. We'll save the project, and we'll call it test fibula median. Be careful you don't save over your original project, because that's where all the original images are stored. And once you crop, it's important to understand that you can't uncrop. You have to go back to the original images by loading them with the file loader again. Okay, so we'll move down here, hit the reset button. Not necessary, in fact, but we did it anyway. And now what we want to do is we want to just take a look at the surface that we generated. So we can load it in using the functions called read objvf, and we saved it as testmedian.obj. And it asks you if this is vertex data, and yes, it is. It's almost always you just hit yes here. And that's it. Now it's loaded in the vertices and the faces, as the faces are F and the vertices are P. Now we can display them to object using our plotting program, plot3 obj, and it opens up a figure window and displays the images. All right, and this looks really good. All right, so now we can view this object and see what it looks like, and it looks like we've got a really nice reconstruction. All right. So I'm going to close that, and now I'm going to show you something, a different program, a program that I think is really fantastic. It's called Sculptress, and I'll open the directory. It's free. You can. I'll send you the executable or the zip file. You unzip it to a directory. All you have to do is just unzip it to any directory on your computer, and then run it by double-clicking on Sculptress. Sculptress is a program that allows you to view and visualize very nicely OBJ surfaces and objects and manipulate them. Okay, so let's run Sculptress. Okay, and it comes up with a default sphere. And the whole point of this program actually is to be able to do editing of a three-dimensional object. And it's a really fantastic program, and it's free. So I can edit this object manually. There's all kinds of controls. You can read all about Sculptress, and it has a manual, and you can play with it and see what you think. Okay, so what we're going to do is load our object in. So import obj. I clicked on the button to the left. It might be outside the screen. And we're going to import the test median object that we just created, and hit new scene. And voila! Now we have, amazingly, we have a really nice representation of the fibula in Sculptress. You can change the way it's viewed. You can turn off the wireframe. You can change the material, make it a different color for viewing purposes. All kinds of interesting things that you can do with this program. But one of the first things, some fascinating things you can do, is you can greatly improve the structure of the triangles making up the object using the simple button called Reduce Selected. And I'm going to hit it a couple times, and you'll see what happens. You see what's happening? It's reducing the number of triangles, but it's maintaining the overall structure of the object. So now we have a really nicely formed object, fibula, and you have to, when you do the reduce selection, you lose some of the surface detail, so you have to be careful, but it can be very helpful for subsequent calculations and manipulations. All right. And if you want to, you can use this program to do all kinds of funny things like change the shape. But obviously we wouldn't normally do that from a scientific standpoint, but there may be uses for this kind of behavior. All right. Wow, it's a fantastic program. Okay. So that's it for Sculptress, and you can try it out yourself. And that's it for this tutorial. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. And I'll close Sculptress. Obviously, once you've changed something, you can resave it and then open it back up in MATLAB. And I'm going to go quickly back to the Super Slicer, and I'm just going to close this program. And there was one other thing I wanted to show you. Okay. Close this program, and now we're back in the directory. Okay. And now, at any time, you can go to run Super Slicer. Once you've saved the project, you should be able to run Super Slicer again and start back off where you left off. So let's say load project again, or open project. Let's open our test fibula median project, and we're back where we were. So I just wanted to demonstrate that. And also, I wanted to demonstrate one more thing. Okay, so let's see, one more thing. And that is I'm going to load the original project. So it's open project again, test fibula. And I just wanted to mention that what your job is now is to segment the fibula and also the tibia and the Achilles tendon. And you have choices. You can do these one at a time, or you can segment one, and then you can segment the next one, and you can segment the third one. It takes longer to do them because you can't use cropping. So it takes longer to do them all at once, but if you do them all at once, then they're all organized in your final structure in the spatial arrangement that they were in the MRI. So that's kind of convenient. So I'm going to go ahead and do a really, really quick segmentation of these two objects just to show you what it would look like when you're done. Okay, so I've segmented out most of the fibula, and I just want to show you that. Just to remind you that sometimes when you're doing the segmentation, you end up with some objects that you're not interested in. So, for instance, here's a contour, an unwanted contour. You have to just delete them manually like this. Okay, and then move to the next slice, delete. Move to the next slice, delete. Move to the next slice, delete. Next slice, it's a little tedious. Could be improved. Next slice, delete. And next slice, delete. And finally, next slice, delete. Alright, one more. And one more. Alright, we'll just let it go now. Okay, just for the demonstration. And now I'm going to segment out very quickly the Achilles tendon. There we go. I don't need to include holes, but I'll leave the setting anyway. Okay, this is going rather fast, so I'll just let the video run. And of course, when I say segmenting out the Achilles tendon, this is extremely rough, and I've used a lot of median filtering to make it very easy. But you're going to want to tweak this to have a better, more accurate reconstruction. Okay, so if I move back, we can now look at all these objects in 3D. We see they're all combined. So we have fibula, tibia, and Achilles tendon. I can once again generate the surface. Here we go. All our scaling factors are already set. So we'll generate the surface.